Cha-boom. Hi! Hello, it's me, it's Craig, here at Fludded. I think I'm going to use this music every single time I come on, because I'll turn my mic right up, shall I? I like it! Everyone tries to put music in that is reflective of, hey, this is how cool I am. This is the music I listen to. That's what I listen to. I'm so cool. Welcome to me, it's Craig. I'm here in my wonderful space, my man cave. I've got reaction cameras. Can you believe it? That's my Can You Believe It camera. There's a big open space here for you. That camera bounces around because I've invested in a new desk that goes up and goes down. I'm standing right now, but I'm not standing for anything. Shut up. So, I do need to get some sort of music in the background. I'll have to come up with that later. So, here is the full thing. This is all recorded as live. Everything's done, triggered as live. The only editing there is to get rid of the black bars, the top and bottom, so I can make it 21:9, because that's how I like it. Nobody's even noticed, I don't think, on the YouTubes, but I do make stuff 21:9. My background, if you don't know who I am a freelance a television producer, director, media, and as of late, I've been more of a commentator on it. Post-COVID, not been so easy to get the work now that my opinions have been broadcast to the world on channels like GB News and whatnot. But and ever since my James Corden videos, people haven't been so keen to employ the Craigster to make their TV shows. But that's what I do. That's what I'm skilled at doing. I do lots of other things. I got other things to my brother. But this is what this channel is all about. Things are changing over in this channel. You might have wondered, there's not been a video up for a while. Well, there's reasons for that. And maybe I'll get into that over in my... I think that stuff like that needs to come out on Patreon. Something I am definitely going to have to start pushing is memberships and Patreon. I've not reset those things up yet. But I do need to start making this... time I spend on stuff like this needs to be able to... be justified in terms of sort of income. So I am going to be pushing out much more content and stuff for extra for people should they be willing to support in that direction. Well, you can always send donations. I don't know how, but you can. Look at me, my hand, cap in hand, begging. I'm not begging. I never have. But subscribing and liking is a start. And I'm doing all right there. I'm happy with where things are with that, considering I've not done a video for ages. So I worked at the BBC if you don't know me, I worked at the BBC for a while. I got started out as a trainee. They trained me, and then I made my way up to finally ending up being producing and directing a Category 1 live outside broadcast for the BBC, a show called The Lord Mayor's Show is what I did for BBC One. And we took over the air for like 3 hours. I was in charge. It was great. So it's so hot in here. Oh my God, I can't do this for long. But I, like a lot of people, I'm getting increasingly frustrated with what I think we boringly call the mainstream media. It's not a term. It's a term we use because we understand what it means, but I think it's a bit of a tired term, because I'm sort of finding that people who are alternative media basically want to be mainstream. They want to be in everyone's household. They want to be a household name. And we're seeing very interesting things happening, what with Talk TV switching from a channel to just being basically an internet channel, YouTube channel, basically. So that's interesting. Or, Piers Morgan is now getting YouTubers on because every YouTuber he gets on, who, they've got millions of subscribers, those subscribers are coming over to his YouTube channel to watch his stuff. So we're seeing this, in a way, mainstream media coming to alternative media. Although, the debate bros that he has on that show are not people I'm well aware of, have been for years. And I need to cover these guys more. I need to talk about Destiny and Hassan Piker. And all these guys on Twitch, what's going on Twitch is shocking. And I should be reporting back on it, and I will do. But let's focus on the mainstream media for now. We've got Hugh Edwards. Now, Hugh Edwards, if you aren't aware, is he was a extremely respected broadcaster on BBC. To see how live this is, I'm basically trying to find him. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Need you go. So there he is, our man. There's a very good, funny meme on the internet where he's sitting there doing nothing. Ex-BBC presenter Hugh Edwards charged with making indecent images of children shared on WhatsApp. Now, I think that's the recent story. But there is, some time ago, I want to find the retrospect. I want to look retrospectively of when the story first came out. Let's see if I can find the BBC one. Because the BBC pretty much has a lot to answer for. My understanding is that what happened was the family of some guy complained to the BBC about him and their son, I think. Oh, geez, he's admitted it. I'll edit this bit out. Here we go. So this is what I was looking for. This is the story, 27th of February 2024. BBC apologises over handling of the Hugh Edwards complaint. The BBC has apologised for the way it handled a complaint about the presenter Hugh Edwards. Allegations about his behaviour were made in May 2023, but did not reach senior managers until 6th of July. The corporation said the complaint was not escalated quickly enough, and that has now changed its processes. An independent report by Deloitte into the BBC's complaints handling procedure said a complaint was made 18th of May. When the contact was first made by the family of a young person at the BBC location in Cardiff, the complainant was correctly signposted to the BBC's audience services as the first port of call for the complaint. Once the complaint had contacted audience services, the complaint was escalated to the corporate investigations team, but the same case was not logged on BBC's case management system, and there was no documented process. So somebody in the corporate investigations team screwed up, right? I think that's what that tells us. So the BBC... Now, I think there are several things, several levels to this. One is there's a victim, right? Somebody is suffering as a result of his actions, which I believe is sharing... What is it? Are we saying what it is? Edit this bit out. Hugh Edwards admits child abuse images. Hugh Edwards once the BBC's now that having nothing to do with him, most senior news presenter has pleaded guilty to 3 counts of making indecent images. Of making indecent 3 counts. Is that 3 images or 3 blocks of a series? He admitted having 41, which had been sent to him by somebody on WhatsApp. So there's somebody else is going to go down for this then. They included category A, which is the most serious. 2, child of 7 and 9. Police later revealed the man who sent the images was a convicted. So he's just received them. What did he do with them? Well, I don't know. One thing he didn't do was report this guy to the police. It's pretty serious stuff. And I hope they throw the book at him. And the question is, everyone's on the BBC about this? Why are these people existing at the BBC? Why is the BBC covering up for these people? I don't know if the BBC is particularly covered up for Hugh Edwards. You know, we're very careful, aren't we, about protecting our private lives. But whereas anything you put on social media now is held against you. I'm glad that he's been caught. I wish it was sooner. And how is anyone supposed to know? That's my question. How are you supposed to know at the BBC? Well, I suppose one way is for somebody to report it to you. My kid has been, you know, I don't know what the complaint actually was. I don't know. But he's gone down, and the BBC is who's accountable? Somebody needs to be accountable for this. Somebody needs to say, "Oh, damn, this all happened on my watch. We got a complaint. We dealt with it badly." I mean, realistically, I would be calling that department and saying, "Why did you not log it correctly?" But this is what happens in the real world. We call for the head of the organisation to go down, especially if you don't like him for a political reason. I think one of my main contentions about the BBC is who's in charge of anything. It'd be really nice, wouldn't it, if somebody at the BBC made their stamp and said, almost in a dictator-like fashion, "I'm in charge of this place. You'll do what you're told." But what we have is airy-fairiness. We have some guy who wears a suit, no tie, trainers on his feet, going into work. Guys, I'm just like one of you. I want to be approachable. I want you to feel like you can come to me for your problems. I'm concerned. Mental health, very important. You know, instead of somebody who's, I want, to a certain extent, people should be afraid of that guy. That the Director General of the BBC should be somebody that people are like, "Ooh, here comes the Director General," you know. Instead, what you got is people at the BBC going, "Oh, here comes Tim. Hi, Tim. Hi, Tim. Hi, Tim. Oh, you got your Nikes on. Cool. See you later. Yeah, yeah." These are researchers, producers, directors, any level. Tim's happy for you just to talk to him like he's Tim. It ain't leadership. And so many things have gone down at the BBC where he is just like being rubbish about it. You need somebody who's a bit more austere. You need me. I'll do it. How much do I get paid? So, what do you reckon about Hugh Edwards? And, you know, who else is there who's coming on the airwaves, you know, lecturing us about trusting sources? Look at Emily Maitlis, by the way. So, if you don't know, if you're not from the UK, you might not know about... Basically, there was a bunch of people who used to be... let me see... who used to be at the BBC. This is one, Emily Maitlis. She used to front the BBC show Newsnight. It was like a flagship evening respected news show. And there's this guy as well. Him. He was ex-BBC. Basically, they got pushed out. They didn't. I don't know what. They left. And now they do this newsagents thing where they are like massive bias leftists. I mean, it's. But they think they are the hardcore. They are today's journalism. They are the pros, the professional journalists. Now they're perfectly capable of writing stories and presenting the role of being journalists. But my argument has always been and always will be: you can't be a journalist if you're also an activist. And I'm only saying that because I think the word journalist needs to stand for something. It needs to mean something. And if you're a journalist, you should be a trusted source that is balanced. People who watch your reports have no idea about how you might vote. And if there's any indication that you are biased in any way, then you are demoted from being a journalist to an activist. You're a broadcaster and activist. And I think that's what we should call them. That's what I call them. That's all I do on Twitter is say, "You're not a journalist, you're not a journalist, journalist." You know, they give themselves awards. They are such a club, these guys. But listen to what these guys, who are all ousted BBC presenters, let's see what these guys were saying about the story about Hugh Edwards when it first broke. It was broken by, so the family got nowhere with the BBC, so then they went to the Sun, and the Sun called the police, and the story broke. Let's see what they're saying about that story way back when it broke.
The Sun has now rowed back from this implication of criminality in their coverage. They literally said on their newspaper that the top BBC star who paid child for sex pictures could be charged by cops and face years in prison. That is a Sun headline. If that doesn't suggest criminality,
they said could be. Does? They didn't say it would be.
John Sopal, that guy, is correct. This is it's the key, most important point about what the Sun did. They said could, and you can't say could. You can say could about anybody. And he's pointing it out to her. And look how he realises she's like going to glare at him like, don't you kill this story that I've just brought up.
They were trying to put. I mean, of course it.
So let me go back. Put myself over there. Let me just watch it again as he challenges her on the could. Watch him immediately pedal back on it and
they said could be. They didn't say it would be. They were trying to put. I mean, of course you're absolutely right. That is exactly the implication. That is exactly what they are pointing towards.
And they had a denial from the young person, their so-called child, and they chose not to run the denial. Do you think there's a way back to the BBC for Hugh?
Yes.
A career?
I do think that. I think...
Hold on. I don't know who this guy is. But he looks the type, doesn't he? When I say the type, the media type. He looks like a media type. He looks like an execy type. Just listen to what he's about to say.
In order for that to happen, lots of things have to go his way. But the country is not the Sun. The country is millions of people who all have in their own lives issues. There are lots of drugs in the country. There are lots of people that say and do things on social media and on text that they shouldn't do. There are people that are in inappropriate relationships and all kinds of things.
There are people who are in inappropriate relationships and all kinds of things. And he's about to say life is complicated.
Life is complicated.
Nuances.
The British people are much more able to understand those nuances.
What on earth?
I think than you would think from reading the newspapers.
So this is way back, obviously, before Hugh Edwards admitted that he had done what he has been accused of. But look at them being apologists for it. Back in the day, wanting the story to go away. And more interesting than anything, they're not covering it now. I'm not seeing them posting anything about it. They don't want the clicks on the Hugh Edwards story anymore. He was their friend. And isn't it, they should be mad with him, and they should be reporting us back and in an unbiased way, to be fair, and just covering it like it's a news story. But they won't cover it. They won't add to the noise on the internet about Hugh Edwards. And that is where we're at. This is the problem, right? It's not so much what people say, it's sometimes what they don't say. And people keep finding a way of twisting a story to make it work. Like, for example, we've got this whole thing about is the far right really a thing anymore? And you've got all the supporters of the people who are rioting in Southport, supporters of those rioters, saying, "Well, they've got a right to be angry." If only they were standing at the side of the street being angry. Going, angry. They don't do that. They pick up a brick and they throw it at a 26-year-old, 5-foot-tall female officer's face. And then, so they're projecting that, these guys are just angry. I mean, they're upset. They're upset. No, they're not. They are people picking up rocks and throwing them at people. They're doing an action. It's not their feelings. It's so weird how the right are becoming the social justice warriors from 2016 now. It's so weird. Antifa are just sitting back and laughing at this, going, "Look, they're doing it for us." Amazing. So let's see what happens. Just to finish up on the BBC thing, and I've gone on for 20 minutes, but just to finish up on the BBC thing, BBC needs to change. They need to cut back a lot of the spending. They need to get rid of things like the Asian network, which is Asian people don't even watch, and it costs $8 million a year. Get rid of all the dead weight that they've got. Get rid of this. Let's only make a whole channel just for the Scottish people, just for the Welsh people. Let's encompass everything all the time. Let's make me aware of stories happening in Wales or happening in Scotland. Don't just tell people in Scotland what's happening in Scotland. Tell us. I'm Scottish, but I'm in England. Don't ignore the fact that we travel around people from different places and we care. I care what's happening up in the Shetlands. Not that much is happening, but I care what's happening. I want to know. So the BBC needs to change drastically, get rid of the wimpish, don't want to offend anybody, Tim in my trainers, get rid of people like him. Let's have people wearing ties again. Let's have people dressing for the gravitas of the job and the organisation that it is. Let's make the BBC the best training ground for broadcasters in the world. World-class training, again, like it used to. They trained me, they had it then. I'm not the best in the world, by the way, but they did have an excellent training program, and then it became this watered down. Here's a camera, it was so rubbish, and it is so rubbish. And get rid of all sort of diversity and inclusion programs. By all means, get people from different backgrounds in there, but they have to prove themselves, right? They have to be up to scratch. Make BBC a better place. I love the BBC. They've made some of the best programs ever. They are historically the best broadcaster that's ever existed. But now they are just terrible. They've gone to terrible. So let's bring it back. Let's get it back. Let's get rid of the current custodians and put some people in charge there and just have a hierarchy and make people who work there feel like they're being led and that there's control and that things are being taken in hand. And, when the BBC goes to have a conversation with Discovery or whoever about doing a partnership, Discovery should be like, oh my God, the BBC are coming. And then I don't know who's turning up from the BBC, but I bet you it's a bunch of, oh, hiya, how you doing? We're from the BBC. Hi. Yeah, oh, hi, multi-million-dollar deal to do with you. It's unbelievable. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Please do like and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. And let me know the type of thing. Let me know if I'm talking about the type of things you want to hear about. I'm very interested in any of your feedback. Keep it clean, keep it nice, or it won't be seen. All right. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.